Hey there, my name is James Clem. The content of this video is going to focus on the workflow for veneers. And I'll tell you, with the prime mill and that extra fine mill, veneers are flying extremely well. So let's start with the workflow. How do we set up a case for veneers? We want to know those patients, right? We got to know the patients. We need to know their temperaments. I'm here in the reception area, and this is really where it starts. You want your patients to be comfortable, particularly if we know they're coming in for a smile objective. We have our smile portfolio book out there on the table, and I'll tell you, your patients will grab it and they'll look at it, and that's when they start building their expectations. And it will also start setting the boundaries and expectations of what can be delivered. You want a good portfolio book. And if you don't have one, just build it one case at a time. That's how I did it years ago, and I just keep adding to that. Have good photography skills in your clinical theaters. Document your before and after pictures. That always is helpful, and that's where we start with building smile expectations. Now in this video, I'm not going to go through the new patient exam, which I love to do, connecting with clients, finding out if you're a match, and kind of guiding them as you listen to them. Listening is so important. We're going to jump right into the first step we do if we decide to do a smile upgrade. And this is for multiple teeth. It could be for one or two veneers, but I'm addressing it more comprehensively. I definitely want to have a prototype, and that's where we get a prime scan study model. That study model is so accurate. All my prototypes, which would be a wax up, digital wax up or traditional wax up, is done on a study model from the prime scan, and it's very, very accurate. Make sure you charge for it though. It's a virtual study model. There are really good people out there who can do a virtual wax up. If you don't, Weston Hatcher does a really good job, and I'll put his link below. He does really nice digital mock-ups, and he can send that back to you, and you can print it, or he can print it for you. You want a good printer. You have your Sprint Ray, you have your Prime Print, and I have the Sega in here. The Sega is still my favorite for printing study models, where I'm going to do a mock-up from, because I'm going to use the Siltec jig, and we're going to transfer that into the mouth and do what we call emotional closure procedure. That's so important to understand that. I want my patient to close emotionally. That's where you kind of find out where they are, because if you build your field of dreams, you got to make sure you keep it dreaming. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if you've ever done a veneer case and you've done your best, you place it in the mouth and the patient doesn't like it. It creates a lot of stress for your patient and you, and then you have to work through that. And it's going to happen from time to time. I tell you, it will. I can guarantee you it will. It has for me. Even after a 30-plus year career, I occasionally will get into a case where I'm doing my best and the patient doesn't close. So you have to pay attention to that. But we definitely want to have a prototype, because we're going to use it for Biocopy. So when we're doing veneers, Biocopy is, in my hands, the best way to go if I'm doing multiple teeth. If I'm doing a single central, I like copy and mirror. That is probably the best way to go for a single central or a lateral or a canine. Then I may not do a prototype for that. It's not as critical. But when you're doing multiple teeth and crossing that midline, particularly the centrals, they're the center of the smile. That middle 4 to 8 millimeters at the midline, it has to be right on. You really spend time there making sure it's spot on, so it makes a difference in how you prepare the teeth. But in today's world, we're going to go into preparation next. How do you prepare for veneers? Hold on a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. I get so excited about the midline and preparing. We need to step back a moment. Let me talk a little bit more about the mock-up and the prototype. Let's review the prototype. It's there for planning the case. It's there for getting the emotional closure. We're going to go through that in a moment. It's there for your Biocopy, and it's also there as a prep guide. So we need to have a prototype so you know where you're going before you get there. And that's so important, particularly when you close with the patient. So before we get into prepping, which I love to do, we're going to talk about emotional closure. I'm going to show you a video clip of a client where we're doing the mock-up. And if the final case is slightly additive, meaning that the surfaces of the labial surfaces and buccal corridors are slightly expanded, kind of like an Invisalign case or a Sure Smile case. Then we're adding ceramics to the labial surface, and we can go really thin now, particularly with our extra fine in the prime mill. We can go down to 300 microns if it fits the case. Unless we're really trying to change the shade and make it brighter, we may have to go up to a 0.5 millimeter to 3/4 of a millimeter, but we're not having to prep aggressively like we used to. So we're going to go through the emotional closure with Mark. When you see this transformation happen before you ever prep a case, you can rest assured that the relationship and the final restorations are going to go well. And you can also biocopy in the mock-up in the patient's mouth. We're going to use Luxitemp with a Siltec matrix. I call it the Siltec jig. I'll link a video below on how to make that. I do want to wax the model first, so with the printed model sometimes you can see those little striated lines. I'm going to go ahead and use 4 wax, 2 coats just on the teeth, and that will create a really nice smooth surface, so when you pull off that Siltec matrix, you'll have a really nice mock-up in the mouth. And I still like this approach better than some of the new printed approaches we're doing, where we can print a thin shell and put it in the patient's mouth. I find that's a lot more work. It's a work of labor and love, and maybe one day we'll go that way. You can also machine them on a 5-axis milling unit. Maybe that's the better way to go. I think if a lab is sending us to a office, maybe machining them out would be the best way to go. I've actually done that with, in this case, those are machined out teleocads, and they worked quite well, but you have to block out the undercuts, otherwise they're not going to fit. And it is a labor of love, and it takes a lot of time. I would prefer to just take a Siltec off of a digital wax up and then place that in the mouth. It takes 5 minutes. You're there. You get the emotional closure, the patient doesn't get worn out, and it works really well. So I'm getting long-winded on this concept, but it does work extremely well. So let's get into Mark's emotional closure.
Today is nothing but fun.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Tremendous difference. But it makes a difference not only just with the ease of it, but the actors themselves.
Sure.
We're going to have some fun here. My first impression is I love them.
You rock.
Shade too. I like the shade on him.
Yeah.
Because you have total privacy here.
Yeah.
You feel okay?
Say hi to Mark.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Now, if you go ahead and say, hello, Mark. Hello. There we go. That's it.
I'm.
You can get closer if you want.
I don't know what. I'm a little speechless. Strange, I'm not a shy guy and I feel a little shy. I'm not a shy guy.
This is normal.
I just feel a little shy. It's a little.
There's something about the mouth that taps something that's inside of us. And you don't know it's there until you go through it. I'm married to a therapist, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, but we've talked about this a lot. True.
It's gorgeous. That's what it is.
But envisioning is very weird.
But you have to put it together.
Well, I've never envisioned it on my face.
Right.
I've envisioned it by looking at other people's faces. But those are other people's faces. But what happens is you look at other people's faces and you go, there's something about the way they're showing up in that moment in the photo. You go, God, there's something really very appealing. I want a little bit of that. I want a little bit of that. I want a little bit of that. But then when you look at your own face with it, there's just a part that's not. I keep imagining now times I'm going to smile, knowing, wow, this smile, it's this expression. I'm going to even be able to express myself in this moment, and it's going to have an impact on the person I'm with.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fun.
You're writing a new story right now. Move your head this way.
Okay.
That is so nice. Yeah, this really looks nice. Put your chin forward. Down.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There you go. Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. This is amazing. Yes.
Yes.
Good. See this here? I feel like this side needs to come up a little bit. Now see, I actually do this on purpose here. I like that better. I like your speech better now.
Yeah.
So go Victor, Mississippi. This is when we start getting the snaz.
Oh, holy, a trip.
See, that's the GQ look. Did I say that right?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Any way you want to say it sounds right.
Now that's emotional closure. You see the value of that? It really helps you as a office to have that confidence to move into the case. It helps you with the prep. You already have the Biocopy model, so the design becomes a lot simpler. But we want to talk about preps. I'm making these video series over time, so it may be a few days or a week before I get the next video up, but you can look forward to that. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you post them below. I want to hear what you have to say. We're a family. We're a community. Thanks for watching this video. The way you can support this channel is subscribe and hit that bell that will notify you next time a video is posted. I want to grow this channel, and the best way you can help me is to share this with others. So make sure you share this link with colleagues that would benefit from this channel. In the meantime, I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.